Hello. There are all sorts of bits and bobs we might yet tackle to fill out this history of troy weight, but for episode 7 I judge it more important to return to what has gone wrong with understanding in recent years. Right back in episode 1 I pointed to the 3 official accounts of troy weight and explained why the 1967 Skinner account was to be preferred. The 1987 Connor account was factually incorrect in a crucial way, and the 2004 Simpson account was, at root, rubbish. Simpson did not reply to my criticism right back in 2004. In 2024, any attempt to explain the history of troy weight within professional academic circles seems dead in the water. The modern professor, if approached, will refuse to engage on the topic, in the unlikely event he or she replies at all. Where else then could the curious enquire? What about Wikipedia? According to Wikipedia guidelines, we publish only reliable authors and not those of Wikipedians who have read and interpreted primary source material for themselves. They also say age matters. Older sources may be inaccurate because new theories have been proposed. Since one assumes Wikipedia would count Connor 1987 and the National Museum of Scotland 2004 as, quote, reliable authors, those rules make it inherently impossible to write a correct account for Wikipedia. If we turn now to what is actually written on the Wikipedia troy weight page, the first thing we notice is that no contributor has apparently ever read any of the 3 official accounts. The second thing we notice is the history is not explained at all. We are instructed that it is entirely a mystery. We are also instructed that the word Troy probably derives from a town in France called Troyes. That is not taken from a study of the matter, it is just a casual passing opinion lifted from Adam Smith's Wealth of Nations. It's not historical evidence at all, it's just unsubstantiated hearsay. Moving on then, let us look at the instruction people might get by trawling YouTube, and there is plenty of it. My search quickly found 9 videos, all telling readers that troy weight was a system devised at Troyes in France. Those 9 videos have gotten about 8,000 views in total. There was one outlier who preferred to believe it came from Rome. He got 8,000 views all on his own. That makes about 16,000 views, with hundreds of likes and comments, but not a single person rejecting the made-up account they had been told. It was not until number 12 on the search that I found the video by Marcel Abrams voicing doubt about all this stuff. In sum then, it does not matter where you look. Almost the entire planet has been led by the nose into foolish ignorance. Building on what was revealed in previous videos, I will now turn here to seeking the truth about this Troyes in France matter. Here is a map of Europe around 1170. Notice that France is on the back foot, sandwiched between the English Angevin Empire of Henry II and the German Empire, founded a couple of centuries earlier by Otto the Great. To the south, the French territories probably still used Charlemagne's coining system. Thus it was in the much reduced northern territories that this Troyes system came into being. Let us now look at some of the European coins of about 1300. England was of course striking to the Troy standard, but with a seigniorage by weight of about 1/16, thus in principle putting out sterling pennies of 30 grains or about 1.46 grams. Meanwhile, as early as about 950, Germany seemed to be abandoning Carolingian standards in favour of English sterling weight. This had become undeniable by the 13th century. The English money pound was 12 ounces, thus 240 sterling pennies. The imperial Cologne pound standard was 16 ounces of the same ounces, thus 320 Cologne sterling weight pennies. Cologne was striking pennies and figuring weight to exactly the sterling weight standard. Its standard was thus Troy times 15/16. Looking now to the powerful Muwahid Caliphate of Spain and North Africa, Stephen Album makes their dirham 1.54 grams, clearly a good fit for a full-weight Troy penny of 1.55 grams. Full-weight coin was being struck, free of seigniorage, well in line with the weight system itself. Thus the Islamic English system was dominant all around. The system of Charlemagne had become anachronistic. Something had to be done in France, but we do not know who exactly did it, nor when, nor where. Nearly everyone agrees the official Paris weight, employed at royal mints, was the same as the Troyes weight of merchants at fairs, but there seems to be no hard evidence about who led and who followed. We do know exactly what was done, as it is well recorded by a set of official weights now held at a museum in Paris. It is called the Pile de Charlemagne. Despite the name, all agree it was made around 1490, thus more than 600 years after the death of its namesake, nor is it to his standards. At root, the French change of standard was very simple. Charlemagne had specified a bullion pound of 16 Roman ounces. Under Paris Troyes, that standard was changed to 18 Roman ounces, which comes to about 489.5 grams. That is the standard indicated by the Pile de Charlemagne. It is just as easy to see why this was probably done. 489.5 grams was quite close to the English Troy bullion pound of 16 ounces, which was then about 497.6 grams. The English did not copy the French mimicked the English. Of course, 18 Roman ounces does not work for practical purposes. Having fixed their full pound weight, all the smaller divisions changed as follows. 489.5 grams became 16 new ounces, each of 8 gross, each of 3 deniers, each of 24 grains. Only the grain was directly retained from Charlemagne's system, but notice that the new pennyweight was exactly 3/4 of the old one. Those old-time guys knew how numbers worked. On the basis of what was revealed in earlier videos, we can calculate this new Paris pound exactly in Troy grains. Let's do it in the imperial or barley grain of about 0.0648 grams. The old Sumerian mina, having become 16 ounces English Troy, gives 16 ounces by 20 pennyweights by 24 grains, thus 7,680 grains, with the Troy penny being 24 grains. Meanwhile, the Sumerian mina, now multiplied by 7/8 times 1/16 times 18, gives us the Paris pound. Now, 7,680 grains multiplied by 7/8 multiplied by 1/16 multiplied by 18 gives 7,560 grains. So the Paris pound, 7,560 grains, divided by the Troy 16 ounce pound, 7,680 grains, comes out as the same as 63/64. On November 11th, 1742, a paper was read at the Royal Society concerning an investigation of French Paris and English Troy measures. It concluded that the 2 ounces, and therefore the 2 16-ounce pounds, Both stood in the ratio 63 to 64. Thank you for watching. I will leave some calculations on the screen for a while.